Okay, we're live. Welcome everybody to the February 4th weekly development meeting. And our normal host, Nate, is unable to be here today. So I'm going to kick things off, and then Jen is going to take over for Nate's usual portion. So let's start out with introductions. We're going to do the usual, what is your name? Where are you from? And a quick, just something you want to share with the group. Gregory, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Greg. Usually in Australia, but now joining from Greece. Last few months due to COVID. Really interesting things happening in the issue. A lot of very challenging and nice features to work on or bugs. So I'm here to get feedback for the things that I'm working on and see what everyone else is working on. Phil?
Hi, Phil Ward out of Wichita, Kansas. Just kind of listening in to see what's going on this week. Don't have anything specific to talk about, so we'll go ahead and move it on to Jen.
I'm Jen. I'm joining from Oakland, California. I'm going to turn it over to Greg.
Well, no, I went. Maybe Joseph.
I'm Joseph. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a backend developer. I don't know. I've been working on the cache tag stuff, so hopefully that's done soon. And Jason?
I'm Jason from Las Vegas, Nevada. Also, I'm just here lurking. Usually I lurk in YouTube, but this time I decided to pop on the channel.
Thank you.
Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm in Denver, Colorado. I just help out with infrastructure and some small things where I can.
Phil or myself?
That's everybody.
I think Phil?
Yeah, I went.
Oh, you did go. Then it's just me. I sort of introduced myself. I'm Tim Erickson. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota. And yeah, just having a really busy week and gearing up for Backdrop Live now in about 6 weeks. So let's move on here. You added the IP Anonymize project under Jen under community instead of contributed projects. Does that mean it's not released yet, or?
That's because it's a contrib application.
Oh, it's just an application. Okay.
Yeah.
So welcome to DJ's work for applying and starting, I guess, the port of IP Anonymize. And we have one new project, which was done by Alan Mills, the activity calendar module. And that I've been just playing with it on the survey.backdropcms.org site, and that creates kind of a GitHub type activity calendar that sort of shows the user's activity on your site. Pretty cool module. Thanks, Alan. Yeah, and so website. So the next step is just website related development tasks and update on our infrastructure sites, backdropcms.org. So I had added to the agenda. We talked about it briefly in the previous meeting. There is a kind of a serious problem, I think, right now with, or possibly two different problems with modules. One of which is them not showing up in search. Another one is the download links. Most of the modules are not showing up. So I think Jen might have already taken a peek at that. We really need some attention on that. I was thinking about another infrastructure week. Does anybody have any thoughts on how we get that fixed?
More hours in the day would
Okay.
help us get that fixed.
Okay. Who can do that for us? Yeah. So.
So that issue, sorry, I'm not aware. So the issue is that we cannot, because you mentioned that download links don't work. Is that?
Well, they're not there. On most of the modules, if you go to the page, the download link is just missing. It's not showing up. There are some examples in the issue. So it's issue number, block embed is an example. It's issue number 755 in the backdropcms.org issue queue. Here, let me screen share.
Yep.
Okay, so I think you're seeing my screen. This is the issue, backdrop ops, backdropcms.org, issue number 755. And I've listed 3 different modules here. And if I click on any of them, we go here. And normally, right above the word documentation would be a download link. And it's just,
Can you please use the GitHub, the right side, how about to go to the GitHub project and see how many releases are there? No, just
oh, for this one?
on the page you were, yes.
Well, sure. I want to point out, though, that Gregory, this is like 80% of our modules are missing the link. So it isn't specific to this.
And
So-
the versions are in the type right of this page too, where it says see all versions. Like there wouldn't be version numbers in the top right there under other releases if there weren't any releases. The way that's built is there's a view that checks like related project releases, and it's supposed to display at the top of this page. And I don't know if it's done directly in the template or if it's done via layouts, but it's not appearing for whatever reason. And when you check the view and plug in the contextual filter, it works. So there's definitely, it's some kind of like rendering or calling or displaying problem, not an actual query problem. I looked at it a little bit last week, but didn't figure out exactly why it's not showing up. But the good news, because the view works, is that hopefully it'll be easy to fix. It'll be much harder if the view wasn't working. So
Okay.
There was a related issue where we were missing the releases tab on the actual project. I don't see that there now, so it might be related to it. I think that we addressed that, but I still don't see it there now.
Yeah. I think the releases is a sub tab under edit. And that was a permission thing that we added. But
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be related because that was for people who have access to manage releases, I think. But yeah, we can.
Okay. So Laren thought that maybe, he mentioned that there was a previous issue that we fixed recently that might be related to this download link problem.
Sure.
He linked to something in Zula, so I'm not going to go to that right now, but oh, maybe it's this one, downloading update. Oh, this is another issue. So I've also been seeing sporadic messages about people having trouble updating their modules in the UI for Backdrop. I think that might be what this person is having an issue. So there's been a couple of people in the last few days in various places complaining about that.
Okay.
I just loaded 8 modules and they all had it.
And they downloaded, well, this some of the reports I got is that they were getting error messages, is that they were able to do, the link was there, but when they clicked on it, they got an error message.
That's also weird.
Did you try the one that Tim was showing? The block embed?
Block embed. I did not. But I'm just saying in terms of like, I wonder if it's intermittent.
Or permission?
It has something to do with like the date of the module. I don't know.
So this is an issue in, I got this in a specific module, the block background color. Somebody basically was trying to update this using the UI and they were getting an error message saying that the file couldn't be found or something.
Huh.
404 error occurred when trying to fetch this module. And certainly the download link on the GitHub page works fine, but that's different than what, and I don't understand enough about how the updater works in backdrop.org to know.
Interesting. Okay.
And I don't think, I'm pretty sure I've seen 1 or 2 other similar reports in different places, just in the last, in the forum. Somebody's having problems in the forum right now with downloading. Oh, it's here. I think they commented on an existing issue. So this was a discussion from last fall, but I think MetaMan just yesterday posted, I've been having the same problem updating a couple of modules from the GUI. And he was attributing it to his change in operating system, but I find it suspicious that other people are having similar problems at the same time.
Mhm.
Anyways, I don't know if we need to, if it's valuable to talk about this anymore right now, or if we should just keep that on our agenda. And again, this isn't tied specifically to this issue, but it occurred to me that maybe having a backdrop, an infrastructure week would help. Personally, it would just get me to focus. So I'm thinking about scheduling that if anybody has any thoughts. Let me know. Anything else on the backdrop.org sites? The API site, it looks like docs. So if I click on that, I guess I'm sharing. So let's try it out. So this is basically just the old API site, right? Just with a new subdomain. Gregory, Jen.
Sorry, I was distracted. I was reading those forum posts with regards
Okay.
to.
I just moved on to look at the documentation site and I just clicked on that link, the docs.backdrop.
Yeah, so the redirect works because I've been
Right.
using like api.b.org is bookmarked for me, and that's what I type by like out of habit. And I have been using it regularly, and I didn't have any issues. So everything works as it's expected, and I didn't notice anything like any problems in the API site what I was using it for. Like it's been a week now or more.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, the remaining task is to migrate or move all the documentation from the main site to this site,
Okay.
and then
So-
restructure everything. Yeah, because as you can see from the right-hand sidebar, we only have a section for developer documentation and Backdrop API. We would need one that says a top-level section that says user guide or something like that.
So at a high level, what's happening is we've renamed or are in the process of renaming the API site to docs, and then moving the current documentation on backdropcms.org to this site. So it's all in one place. Is that correct?
Yes, so the documentation was split based on level, I should
Right.
say. So this was the API side was developer-centric focused, and then we were aiming to keep any end user documentation in the main site. But there's some challenges there when people, various comments that were sort of like that led to this decision and this task being done was that a person that is mid-level or between being an end user and a developer, and they want to find related documentation, they have to search in two different projects, two different places. And then there's also the issue of making it easier to contribute to documentation.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what Tim is showing now on the video is the actual user guide, which is on the main site.
Right.
So the goal was to consolidate all documentation and then make the permissions on the documentation, the new documentation site a little bit less restrictive, or maybe I'll rephrase that, make it easier for people to register and contribute documentation, maybe enable comments, same way that it Drupal. So these are under discussion.
Okay.
But yeah, the main goals were to consolidate the two documentation places into one, and then of course the ongoing goal is to produce more documentation and then have people make it easier for people to contribute either new documentation or improve existing.
Excellent. Okay. Anything more on the infrastructure sites?
Oh, by the way, the API repository on GitHub was also renamed to Docs, so we've done that bit as well.
Okay.
And I tried to rename all the links on various websites that linked to the API site to also point to docs. So over time, I think we'll catch them all. There's probably some in content somewhere, but
Yeah, the redirect is in place anyway, so.
Okay. So on sort of the internal websites, Jen is currently working on an event.backdropcms.org.
events.
Events, and we talked a little bit about that in the outreach meeting. If anyone's interested, do you have anything to add on that in this meeting?
No, I'm hoping to get the registration form up on the actual website soon so that people can start registering for Backdrop Live in March. And then once it's up there, everyone can work on it collaboratively using the backups tool we have on there for automated sanitized backups that we have for our websites and the repository. But right now I'm the only one with the database, so I'm sort of blocking everything. So hopefully I'll get that up. I don't know about today. I want to fix backdropcms.org now, but sometime soon.
Okay.
Since we're on the websites, exactly, I was about to say about the survey one. Should we link it? Like I had the idea to link to it from the roadmap page that we have. Or you guys think too soon we shouldn't do it?
I think I don't think we should have it be our official source because this is just the survey for right now. It's sort of I don't know what we call it, an experiment, but I think it's a good one and I think we should keep doing it. But I would like to move all of this content over to our forum site. So everybody who already has a forum login will be able to weigh in on the next survey. But that's not a priority because of all the other stuff we're working on. And this already works. So this will work for 119. Another one will be for 120.
Yeah, it's all good points.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say that Gregory has been advocating, or at least suggesting, the option to keep something like this open all the time. Other people have different opinions. All of that, I think, is under discussion. We can talk about it. But
that's fine too. Like, so we could take data for now for 119 and leave it open the whole time. But I think I would like to move it someplace where more people can participate just accidentally. Like if you're on the forum anyway and you happen to stumble across the feature priority poll, that would be great.
Yeah, so the reason, sorry, not the reason, the way that this ties to, sorry, Tim, if you can open the roadmap page on the main site. We have, it used to be that all the project history was in a single page, and what we've done is we've changed the roadmap to include the current version and then the planned version. And if you scroll past it, we have goals for 1.x. This is where it ties. See how we have more to be determined? So maybe the more to be determined can be a link to the survey. That's what I was thinking.
It doesn't have to be.
I would like that to be a link to our final destination for the survey.
Exactly.
I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter. Like, we could set up a redirect when we move it to catch it. So yeah, if you want to link it now, that's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll do that.
I mean, just so it's clear that the survey is not an official roadmap. It's just a survey. But
yes, exactly.
I think that works.
Yep. Cool. Thanks.
DVD is a good, though it sets the right precedent before you click that link. Like, how do you determine? I'm just gonna click this link and see where I go, and then be like, oh, it's not like saying, I don't know. It's different than if we had a list here of all of the stuff from the survey. Like, this is our top 8 results. That would feel really different. But yeah, I think the little link is fine.
Yep. All right. Cool. Thanks.
And just quickly on this site, somebody asked about this. Technically, you can still add new issues to this list through tomorrow. And then participation in the survey is open through the 15th if anybody wants to. Okay. And people have been coming back and sort of changing their votes, and people should feel free to do that. Now that you've seen what other people are voting and stuff, it's totally appropriate to change your answers. Okay, let's get back to the agenda. And I think that moves us on to, I'm going to pass it off to Jen to talk about the Backdrop, the product.
Sure. So there are a bunch of bug fix issues in the 1.18.2 milestone. There are only 4 on our agenda for today. One of them is a site stuck in maintenance mode, number 3956, and that's marked needs code review, needs testing. I don't think that's gotten any activity since last week, but I think it's pretty close. The next one is throw a warning if max input bars is not properly set. That has gotten worked on since its last review, so it could probably use another review, but it does really need a core committer review for the code review, because the way that we're manipulating the messages, I am fully expecting to be rejected by Nate. So it will be good to get some eyes on that, to at least see, you know, we don't want to set a precedent for something that's bad, but in this case, I'm not sure we have a lot of other options. So it'd be good to get some more perspectives on how we might be able to clean that up. We have language names not translated to their native names, and that has been reviewed and works, but still needs a code review. And then we have PHP 8 support, which is currently marked needs work.
Related to that, what I'm about to mention it's two issues. They're not added to the agenda. These are related to MySQL 8 and other errors. So one of them is 4932. So John is the maintainer of the Silverstring fork of Backdrop. So the number is again 4932. So we recently added a patch to support MySQL 8, but it sort of like deviates from the respective solution for Drupal 7 and 8, and it's causing John a few problems. So he's suggesting an alternative, which brings us closer to the 8 and 7 solution as well. So in the future, we can benefit from it. I've assigned that ticket to Nate because it will need some committer eyes, and I know that Peter is busy this for a few next weeks. So yeah. And the other one is related again by John. It's 4931. So something that was working as expected in Debian 9 is now failing in latest Ubuntu. And Indigozella is onto something. Unfortunately, he cannot test on his local because he doesn't have MySQL 8. I think I do. So I'll give that PR a spin later on and provide some feedback.
Okay.
Thanks.
I'm just continuing to share. Is that okay with everybody? Is that
Yes,
helpful?
actually, it makes it easier.
Okay.
All right. So those both need both code review and testing. And then there's a handful of other issues in the 1.18.2 milestone that could get in at any time if they were fixed, but are not deemed significantly important that we have to talk about all of them at our weekly meetings. Moving on to 1.19.0, we have a handful of issues that are marked as slated for the 1.19 release with advocates. The first one is an exposed file name filter for media library dialog, issue number 3293. This issue is marked needs work, but I think also marked as works for me. So I think the status of the feature is that it works, but the code in the pull request is not quite up to snuff. I haven't looked at that one recently, but that was the last I saw it.
The media library dialog. So I think that last one is feedback provided by Nate. The solution that we have in place currently is not as elegant. There's a form within a form which is causing a lot of the oddness that we notice, and ideally we should sort that out. But it sounds like a tricky thing to do. So although it works, yeah, it's a bit hairy. The implementation is a bit funky.
Okay. The next one is advanced caching. And Joseph, we've been working on that. Do you want to give us an update?
Sure. So it actually does have a pull request. And I finally got the tests passing on it. So
What's
yeah.
the best way to test this, Joseph? Like, is it meant to be working the same way as it works in D8?
How would you test this?
You don't have to answer
So-
now. Maybe add some instructions in the.
That's a really good question.
I know.
My way of testing it so far has been putting about 50 debug statements inside of the cache object and having something on the order of 10,000 devel messages showing up every page load and reading them.
Maybe we could just apply it to a bunch of actual sites and see if anything breaks. Rather than testing to see if the caching works, we can test to see if it doesn't work.
I guess that's fair. What I did is in this pull request is I changed the default cache object to the taggable cache object. So if you, so the sandbox is using it. I think the parts that would be harder to test are what happens when you change the cache options, like if you change the time to live, or there's a couple other things.
Do you think like it'd be beneficial to have it tested on actual environments and then have feedback? Where I was getting at is the more important question: should we add it to core with a switch, like in the settings PHP, and then have people attempt to use it and then report bugs? Like if it's hard to test, then yeah, I don't know.
How about make it a contrib module first and then test it that way?
Even
That way it's not in core, potentially breaking sites.
Well, if we want it in core, and it was a settings PHP setting, people can turn it on, see if it breaks their site, revert, right? And report bugs in the core queue. Because if we are certain that that's what we want and we want it in core, that's what I was getting at.
Okay, so essentially change it back so that the default is the database cache again, and then just provide some instructions on how to configure it so that it runs.
Yeah, and then have because the benefit of that would be, I mean, that's my take. I would be glad to hear what the core committers think. That way we will have real actual websites tested and provide feedback so we can tweak over the next, releases.
Okay.
Unless we find an easy way for people to test, like the current PR.
Yeah, I think currently the easiest thing is just apply the pull request and then just see if it doesn't work.
Well, and the sooner we apply the pull request, merge it into the dev branch, also we have more time
Exactly.
for things to emerge in the development cycle.
I think it also still needs some cleanup, but I'd also like someone with some more technical knowledge to just give it a once over on like how the implementation works before we merge it.
Yeah, that's where we're getting at, because usually most of the PRs that we have, the way for people to, an easy way for people to test, especially via the sandboxes, this is not such the case, I think.
I'll just say getting this into core from a marketing point of view, I think, I personally, I'm not sure if I need it, but it seems like it would be a good marketing thing because we get asked about it a lot.
Yeah, and that was one of the main reasons. People were saying, oh, yeah, all right, sure. Considering Backdrop for D8 to upgrade my existing D7 sites, but I'm excited about this feature and I want to use it. Does Backdrop offer it? So yeah, it would be a selling point. And that was one of the main reasons that we started working on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it slightly annoys me that that's as big of a selling point as it is, because I think this is going to affect like less than 1% of our sites.
Backdrop's already faster than D8 out of the box. This doesn't
Yeah.
help a lot.
Yeah, but I think that, like, I mean, I don't know, does the pull request in its initial implementation, does it add tags for things?
Mm, it does. So I took basically the D7 module
Uh-huh.
and took each thing and put it into its module where it goes. So like the comment tags, I put in the comment module,
Okay,
so the core modules add the tags that they need.
okay. I don't know, I feel like with enough content that might help. I mean, I guess that's depends on how many sites have enough content,
Right.
but
The biggest thing,
Well,
the
a lot
the
of sites coming from 777 probably have a lot of content.
right. Well, actually, the thing that affects it more is how many templates do you have to render. So if like a site out of the box, it with just a lot of pages will not have a lot of templates to render on each page. But if you have like 30 blocks on each page and maybe you have like some nested layouts or something, you might have a lot of
Paragraphs.
layouts to render. And then
So
Yeah.
can
So
I
just-
ask, sort of from an outreach point of view too, since the number of people who are familiar with advanced caching and understand it are fairly small, would it be helpful or productive to like tweet that, hey, we're trying to get this into the next release and we need some folks with experience to offer feedback or to look at it, or would that be helpful?
yeah,
I doubt we'd get anybody, but you never know.
maybe.
yeah, maybe.
I think we might get people from Drupal who are interested
Right.
in it to come take a look if they hadn't
Right.
recently.
Yeah, and the other thing is, so when we add D8 features or equivalents in Backdrop, what I like to do is like, and I do that for D7, I find tutorials or articles that have how-tos, and I try to see if these apply to us, like with small differences, if people can actually follow it. So the reason why I basically asked the question of how can we test this is, can I follow a D8 article and then do the same or similar things and test it for Backdrop? That was,
Cache tags has no user interface. It is entirely a developer tool.
yeah, for theming, right? Not theming, but making your site
No,
faster
no, no.
and invalidating.
It's not even a theming tool. It's literally a module developer tool.
It's for performance though, right? Right? Is
Right.
It validates the content of blocks based on certain criteria, right? That's how it works.
Right. Yeah. So it'll create like, so a module such as the layout module would create a cache tag collector, and then basically at the top, at the start of its rendering of the block or at the layout, and then it'll go through its normal process, and then at some point the block module, as an example, might say, hey, add cache tag block:4, and then when the layout is done rendering, its collector will have block:4 in it, and then when it caches the rendered page, it'll say, here's the cache content, and here is an array of all the tags that were generated. So, yeah.
Anyway, we don't.
So
Yeah.
it's actually really heavily tied into the processing of each module.
Okay. We don't. The base of the question is, if it's hard to provide instructions on how to test, maybe have a thing, and maybe if there's a way to test it, maybe add a comment on that issue.
Okay.
So if less technical people can actually test it, they might be able to provide feedback.
Okay.
Quick question on that. Is there going to be a enable, disable checkbox option like in the performance area, or is this purely just an enable, disable module?
So in settings.php, you can currently swap out the cache backend for any cache system. So currently it's a database one, but we also provide a null cache that's used during install, or you could use Redis or Memcache, which are both provided through modules. So this is just going to be another one of those. but this one's a little more complicated because you actually have to set up two cache backends, one of which is the taggable cache backend. That's your main one. And then you have to set up a taggable cache backend that is what actually stores it. So you could take the database cache or the Redis cache, pass it into your taggable cache, and then that would use its backend calls to actually store the data.
Wow.
Okay, so short term, it's like you said, it's going to be pretty complicated for the average person to set up. I might be shooting the gun here, but long term, do you think we'll look at ways of making that a little bit easier for the average user?
Well, the average user, like if they were going to use it, what they would do is change the value in settings.php.
Yeah,
There really isn't
Right.
nothing else for them to do.
Right.
So
The big change is for module developers.
yeah,
and people that are tweaking the site's performance. It could be DevOps engineers for larger sites. The main point is that, yes, Backdrop, see how we had that question, and this is an outreach thing, as Tim said. We advertise that the main target audience for Backdrop is small nonprofits and so on. So, and we had the question of, but can it handle big sites? So this is one of the sort of like, yes, and we also have features that V8 has thing.
Right. And the way I've currently implemented it, it'll just be the default. So whenever we get this in 119, you just update to 119 and you will automatically be using the taggable cache backend.
Yeah.
Unless we decide to change it so it's not the default.
Yeah, sure.
we might want to make it not the default for 119 and then switch it to the default for 20.
That's what I
Okay.
was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this is going into the settings PHP, if on an existing site, I guess you're talking about default for a new install then, right?
Right. So if you've
Okay, yeah, never mind.
if you've already gone into settings.php and changed your cache backends, nothing will change for you.
Right. Yeah, sorry, I had a brain fart on the same page.
Right.
No, it wasn't. It was a valid question.
This is complicated.
Well, but if you haven't made any changes and you have an existing site, this will affect your existing site.
Right.
And probably if you have a small site, it'll affect your existing site, but you won't notice.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe if you have a huge, really complicated site, your site will get faster.
That's the theory.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we move on?
Yes,
Or anything-
I'm really excited about that. Thanks, Joseph, for working on that. I want to give it a test. All right, next up is field has value visibility condition. I haven't done any work on this issue since last week, but I am working on the site that I wrote the first version of my patch for, so I'm hoping to get back to that soon. This just adds a UI for layouts and or blocks that lets you say if field X has value Y, then show this block or show this layout. Next up is support for relationships. This is issue 2134. It is currently marked needs testing. So anyone who has relationships or wants to test what the pull request looks like, now's a good time. It's also marked needs work, so it's probably not done yet, but feedback is requested. So if you want to give that one a test, that's a good one. Then we have Gregory's merge core module, the theme layout update pages into a single page. Good old one, 2714. Do you want to give us an update on that one?
This was so close. Actually, if I didn't go and try to tweak the dashboard block for the available updates, it could have gotten in with a 118. And I did at some point say, should I split that off? But I didn't. And yeah, so anyway, this is really close. We just need to figure out why the weirdness with the these errors happens with the dashboard block. At some point, Indigo Zella said, I have an idea what might be wrong. Maybe if they're watching this video, add a comment. It would be a good chance sort of like to motivate me to start working on it again and figuring it out. But I'm really inclined to splitting the issue and just getting the fix done. Sorry, the main feature done, which is basically merging the update pages and leaving the the dashboard update block as it is. So if you scroll to the very bottom, yep.
Okay, great. Next step is change role edit URLs to configure. This is marked RTBC,
Yeah.
but there is a follow-up issue to make sure that wildcard support, not wildcard,
Yeah, that's an
placeholder
existing issue. Yeah.
support works for our redirects.
Yeah, and that's an existing issue. Like it's a core bug. I don't think that it's sort of like, and it's an old one. It shouldn't hold back this.
Um,
And
that's it for
yeah,
the list. Is there
Doc
anything
Will,
else?
yeah. Doc Wilmot asked that we add this his favorite issue about the .info files, more info. Yep, that one. In the agenda so that it can be discussed until it gets solved at some point.
Fair.
It's fair enough. So maybe we should add it to the agenda.
Okay.
Well, a point of order. Normally things we need an advocate or an initiative to have
Oh,
a
this
permanent
is-
spot.
I
Yes,
don't
but
think
this
this
is
is
not.
a
What?
core issue. It's not
Oh.
like it's not a milestone one. It's just something that we are stuck on and should probably
I got
discuss.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a CM. Oh, so this could go under the infrastructure part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's a core issue. It's an infrastructure issue. It's a testing framework issue. It's a sandbox issue. It could go anywhere.
Yeah, it's not an initiative, but it has the same problem with many moving parts as telemetry, for example.
Okay. I will
Not,
put
not
this
as
on the.
complicated.
I'll put
Yeah.
this on the template agenda so it gets.
Okay. Thank you. I was just going to do
Oh,
that. It is already on the January 28th agenda. So if you want to just copy it from there.
Okay.
Yep. Cool.
Is there anything to say? Is it made? Let's look, see if there's any progress in the last week. Listen to Dev.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like the last discussion was sort of around testing it.
Yeah.
And so Doc Wilmot, if you're listening, you need to update us on what you need from the group at the next meeting.
This needs a code review right now.
Okay.
So I think that's where we're at, but it would be like for the people who are doing the code review, we're going to have to also repeat the complicated testing process to.
Yeah, and Doc Wilmot said on Zulip that point of order noted, in case you haven't noticed.
What I was hoping was to give him an incentive to finish the relationships issue so that.
Oh, but he had an incentive for that issue for like 4 core releases
Yeah.
when he started it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. We'll keep this on the agenda. I get it. Okay.
All right. That's it for 119, unless Greg, you have more secret issues.
No, it's not for the 119. Well, it is a new feature request or a task. It's more not for the 119, or Tim will remind me the point of order. Anyway,
we can bring things up spontaneously at any meeting, but
Let's just
Yeah.
the section at the bottom. Then we can
Yeah.
figure out where to put it later.
yeah. So it's about issue 4927. So I've been working on it, and I got into multiple various rabbit holes trying not to disturb existing sites. It's a very it's a user. So yes, the number is 4927. Doc Wilmot said that he will hold the relationship thing hostage and he will fix it. And he's right. We'll be dragging him. Yeah. Nice, good one. So basically this came up as sorry, it's not that one, is it? Sorry, wrong issue. That's my fault. It's 2924. Sorry.
good, because that one was giving me a headache.
No.
2924.
4924.
4924.
4924.
I can't hear.
Okay.
So it came as a question in the forum, and the user was saying, "Oh, it was basically our target audience." It was saying, "Yes, I know that I have to fiddle with CSS, but I was expecting the language switcher to sort of like be like this." And actually, you can test the pull request if you want, like for a minute. So things are working, but I need a lot of feedback about a lot of things.
You want me to go in there?
Yeah, please, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, and what am I doing?
All right, so if you go to functionality, let's type language or start typing language so that we can enable the 3 language modules. Yep, enable all those 3.
Guys, I have another meeting I have to go to,
Okay,
Sure, right.
but Tim, you're in charge, right? So I can
sure.
disappear.
I'll finish it up. Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, now
So
what do I do?
if you go to configure in the languages, the link that's there, yep, languages, and just let's add a couple of languages, like let's add left to right language, maybe Arabic, and then also like Italian or whatever, choose one, maybe Spanish, whatever. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so now let's go to the default layout.
Manage?
Yes, yes, please. Let's add a block on the header. Start typing language block. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
So
I know
previously
this
we didn't have any options,
Mhm.
whereas now set it to horizontally. And then let's do a custom delimiter as well. Do a / or something.
That's
Or that, yes. And do short code for each language. Or pipe or whatever. Yep, save it. And then also add on the sidebar, add another language block just to see the difference. And just leave defaults. Just click OK, add block. Save the layout. And then go to the home page and click your first post thing. So basically that's it.
Yep, got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And maybe to achieve what that user was asking, just remove the blog title from the top thing there. So yeah, I need a lot of feedback, like what the delimiters should be like, how it would work best with. So this is the thing that is broke. That's the thing that I need to fix.
Oh,
Yeah. So and it didn't broke only for those blocks. It needs to be fixed for every block.
okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
If you go to that page, though, as you did, if you use the contextual link for the top, try not that one. That's the menu.
What?
The
This one?
language. Yep.
Yeah, nothing happens. Oh, it did.
Oh yeah, you need to click configure, and if you save it, redirect. So that's the bit that was broken.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I did mention it in the summary in the issue.
Okay. Okay. Well, we should. Is that anything else on this issue?
Nope. Unless we want to mention anything quickly for the rest of the issues in the initiative updates.
I think we're.
Maybe skip it because we have
Yeah,
time.
I'm the only one here. I was gonna, if we had more time, bring up recipes, because I'm trying to think about what to advocate for. Recipes is doing fairly well on our survey, but I'm not quite sure if it's ready to be advocated for, because we still don't even know what it would look like, let alone have a PR. Maybe we can talk about that in a future meeting. Like, is that even something that is close enough to in a sense be advocated for?
Yeah, well, you could advocate it in order to bring it to a status
Right.
where it's ready.
Right.
Or
Well,
either-
that would have to be, and it would have to be with the assumption that it's still not, for sure a core thing, but it would be by in advocating for it, I would be trying to move that decision along.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up with telemetry? If you're considering,
Well, so telemetry is an initiative. So
you were just talking about being an advocate for the one issue.
right, I'm talking about
Okay.
being an advocate
Okay.
for the one issue. So technically, I can
It
do
seems
both. But a good
seems like-
argument would be that I should just focus on telemetry.
Yeah, I was gonna. To me, it seems like recipes is a big enough thing that it might be initiative, but
Yes.
maybe
I
I'm
think
just overthinking it.
it could be. So maybe I should just get telemetry done and then we'll start a new initiative.
They said so many interesting things to work on.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other things you want to bring up? Or questions? Okay. Well, let's formally end the meeting. And if people want to hang around for a few minutes and chat, they can.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Might
stop
be.
sharing my screen and I'm going to turn off YouTube.
Thanks.
I